try to figure out what's in there. Since then, I now am chief scientist of a startup in the city that does display advertising, which I find a fun playground to just learn what works and what doesn't. I think this is the real segue in where I see my role, or my main role today. I'm kind of observing what's going on in the general culture, how people perceive big data and how it's talked about. And I think I would love to be a voice of reason and the facilitator to help people who really need to make big data useful, but can't quite cut through the hype of what's being said. So I want to bring people together who really have the skill set that you need to have today, and those who have really interesting problems that can help to shape the world. And I would like to invite all of you to talk to me, come and catch up with me, and I'd love to be part of whatever interesting thing you're doing with data.
Rounding out this sextet is Jer Thorpe, who brings a data artist's eye to this conversation. Jerry, want to?
Thanks, yeah. I feel like I know a lot of people in the room from last year and from karaoke last night, but thankfully I can't see any of you, so I'll treat you all as strangers. I've been thinking around data for about 5 years, and over the last year, I think a lot of people have asked the same question, which is like, what is this big data thing, and what does it really mean? And for me, over the last maybe week or so, I've really been thinking about the idea that this technology has breached its containment fields. It was at one time contained within science and within business, but it's leaked out and contaminated all of us. We are all in contact with this thing every day, and it's changing us, and we're changing it. And where I'm most excited about and most interested about is this kind of many-folded boundary between culture and data. And what's happening, as I said, it's kind of this two-way field. So as a visual artist, I'm really interested in producing systems that will help us understand that. I run a studio in New York City called the Office for Creative Research, and we think around a lot of these issues from all kinds of angles. We do some work with companies that are trying to think about how they can embrace concepts like data ownership and how they can understand their own data in a way that respects the users who are producing that data. And on the other side, we do a fair amount of work with museums and galleries. We are really privileged to be artists in residence at the Museum of Modern Art this year, where we're working on a public program that'll help people engage with the data that the museum collects around all of their pieces, because like all of these things, data is changing the way that we experience art, and art is hopefully changing the way we experience data.